Hi everyone. A truly great maritime artist embodies their subject with dynamism and emotion, be it as an ocean liner docked at night or as a clipper ship with full set of sails spread out. There are plenty of great maritime artists out there, and just to name a few include Ken Marshall, Stephen J. Card, Stan Stefaniak, Robert Carter, Robert McGreevy, Norman Wilkinson, and Peter Dixon, and many, many, many more. But if you look at any one of their masterpieces, you're instantly transported onto the decks of their ships, or indeed you are embodied within the set that they've painted. And today we're going to be looking at one artist whose mastery of pen and ink is exactly that. He brings you into his artwork. But unfortunately, he left this world far too soon. Now, for those who are not too familiar with Samuel Ward Stanton, put down your easels and get comfortable, as we're going to take a brief look at his life, body of work, and its legacy. Samuel Ward Stanton was born on the 8th of September 1870, and being the son of a shipbuilder, saw firsthand the rapid advances in shipbuilding and shipping technology. He saw the decline of sail and wooden ships and the rise of iron, steel, and steam. He found very early on that he had the knack for drawing, and with the skill of a draftsman and the tenacity of a historian, he made it his mission to go about and draw and document as many ships across the United States as he could. Every type, from paddle steamers to ocean liners to armored ships. He tried his hand at drawing everything that floated. By the age of 25, he had amassed a collection of over 800 drawings, and many of these were exhibited at the World's Columbian Exhibit in Chicago in 1893. Such was his talent and his pursuit for historical accuracy that he was awarded a medal for his efforts. And it is these drawings that became a book, which in turn is the basis of the book that we will be looking at very shortly. Now, Stanton continued with his drawing, and in 1912 he was commissioned by the Hudson Day Line to decorate the interior of their new steamer, the Washington Irving. And being a stickler for detail, Stanton went over to Spain to study the same sites that Washington Irving himself had painted. While still in Europe, and having finished those drawings, he then went on to Paris, where he met up with his friend Francis Davis Millet. There his friend encouraged him to ditch his plans to continue on to London, and rather to accompany him back to New York. You can imagine the conversation. It went something like this. "We'll have fun, it'll be great, we'll have a few laughs. What is there to worry about? We're going to be on a new ocean liner. The ship that we're booking on is practically unsinkable. What could possibly go wrong?" And so Stanton relented. He bought a second-class ticket, number 237734, paid £15.11, and together with his friend, they boarded the RMS Titanic at Cherbourg, and set sail with that ship. And sad to say, they were not among the survivors. Stanton was 42 when he went down with the Titanic, but he did leave behind an impressive legacy in the form of his artwork. And the book that I'm holding up at the moment, Stanton's American Steam Vessels, was a book that was published shortly after the Columbian Exhibit, and it covers ships from the Clermont of 1807 right through to the ocean liner St. Louis of 1895. And aside from being a direct reprint, the only addition to this book is that there is a biographical introduction by George King Hill of the Steamship Historical Society of America. Now, the book is laid out as the original, with the contents page having all the ships laid out alphabetically, and then the ships themselves laid out chronologically. And this chronological format benefits the book greatly because you can see the various ship types evolving as technology progressed. Practically every type of ship has been illustrated, every type of powered ship has been illustrated in here. So you have the Demologos, which was a floating battery. You have the J.M. White, an incredible paddle steamer on the Mississippi, even the little steam yacht Vamoose. But it is some of his larger artworks where you can really see Stanton shine, such as this one here, the Eastern City of 1852. You can feel the ship plowing through the water. Such dynamism is rare. This man only used pen and ink to achieve such an effect. And one of my particular favorites is this, if I can hold it up. This book is a little unwieldy. The Christopher Columbus, which is a unique whaleback steamer. In fact, the only passenger-carrying whaleback steamer that was built for the Columbian exhibit. So, while the book shows his artwork beautifully, you can also notice, if I can continue to hold it up, that it's not just the artwork, but Stanton also includes baseline details and descriptions at the bottom, and usually with some artistic flourishes as well, which gives us a great insight into his personality and even his voice. But, if I may, many of those little descriptions on the bottom half of all the pages have been compressed, and in some cases it's actually difficult and even hard to read them, which is a shame. Now, as I've mentioned, because this is a direct reprint, many of the ships that are featured in this book were alive and sailing while Stanton was still around. And since then, they have either sunk or been scrapped. So it would have been far more helpful if an addendum had been included to just round out the fates of many of these ships. You have the Chicora, for example, that ended up being lost in the Great Lakes with everyone on board. He has even drawn the Portland, which was lost in the Portland Gale of 1898. Or the General Slocum, which burned to a crisp. And let me hold it up. Here. So the General Slocum, which was burned to a crisp on New York Harbor with the loss of over 1,000 lives. You know, by just adding that additional information would have given an extra dimension into not only the era that Stanton lived in, but also just the state of seafaring and shipping of the late 19th century. But putting all that aside, on the one hand, it is fantastic that we have these technically brilliant illustrations of historically accurate ships that are on full display for historians and maritime artists alike to study. But on the other hand, had more care and effort been put into not only fleshing out the careers of the ships, but also carefully republishing and illustrating the product descriptions. Let me find one that's particularly compressed. Such as these here. Then the voice of Stanton would have come across far clearer. But ultimately, the selling point of this book and its legacy are the artworks. Stanton was truly talented, and he was able to provide us, before he died, an incredible collection of ships that we don't have any other information on, be it, shipbuilding plans or even photographs. And for that, this book is an important legacy to have. I love the illustrations. They are displayed beautifully, and for that it is a 3 out of 5 captain's hats. Get it and marvel at the work of a maestro. I hope you enjoyed this brief look at Samuel Ward Stanton. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to be alerted for all the new reviews that come out every Wednesday. And until the next time, enjoy and happy reading, everyone!